Hi there, this is Nina Perez at Straight Talk, No Sugar Added, and this show was created to talk about life topics and hopefully challenge and transform your thinking. So we are here today with a really great organization. The CEO and the starter of this organization, her name is Darlene McGee. She is a native of Greenwich, Connecticut, and she's the CEO of Women Networking for Jesus and with Jesus. And this is a Christian women's ministry based here in Connecticut, and her love and passion for Christ is the trademark for this ministry. So Darlene has been doing so much work out there, so it is really important for us to have her here today to talk about how we can know more about this, hear her on the radio. Yes, you heard me right. She's on the radio, and have fun with her today. So thank you, Darlene, so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. I really, I went to one of your organization tea parties we will get into, and that was super fun. So I really wanted to have you here, and I'm glad you're here.
Thanks.
So every person who comes here, I put them in the hot seat.
Okay.
So your seat is hot. And basically what I'd like you to do is just share a little bit about who Darlene is for our audience.
Okay, well, my name is Darlene. I am a native of Greenwich, Connecticut, and I had two brothers and two sisters. Now I have one brother and a sister. One lives in Florida. My sister lives in Atlanta. And
warm. They're in the warm places.
They are. They are. and they will not come back here, believe me.
I can't blame them.
And I have a little dog, a little Yorkie, which I love, which is my partner. But other than that, you know, I worked in Manhattan for many years. I'm a trademark specialist.
Okay.
So, and I still do trademark work on my own. So,
That's
I guess it pretty much, pretty much sums it up.
That's so different than what you're doing right now, right?
Oh, totally, totally.
From trademarking, I guess trademarking Jesus in a way.
I know, right? My trademark.
That's funny.
But I've been doing legal for about 20 years. So, you know, for different corporations, but now I do it on my own, on my spare time.
Yeah, you have that? You have
just a tad.
So I know that this ministry is like at the heart of who you are.
Yes.
When I went to your last event, I heard you talk about this ministry in such a loving way. Really, women are like something I feel like you really want to reach for.
Yes, I do.
And so I wanted you to tell us a little bit about why this organization was birthed. Like what came about to make you think that Women Networking for Jesus, with Jesus, was even, first of all, a need, right? Why is it a need, and why was this birth? What happened?
You know, that's a good question, Nina, because growing up, I was an introvert, and I didn't have any friends. When I say I didn't have any friends, I didn't have any friends at all. And I'd say about 15 years ago, I started seeking the Lord even more. And my whole life just turned around, and I just felt the Lord wanted me to get women together. And the first thing I said to the Lord was, I don't have one friend. I mean, who am I going to gather together?
Right, that's a tough call, right?
Yeah, I'm like, are you sure? Is this what you want me to do? Now, prior to that, a prophet had said to me, I see you talking to women. And I'm like, yeah, not me, but thank you anyway.
Right.
So I had no clue, because that definitely wasn't in my sight.
Right.
You know, I was happy working in New York, you know, making money and just, you know, moving and shaking and whatever. So my whole course changed, because one thing, if anyone knows, I am obedient. And I knew it was the Lord urging me, or, you know, egging me on to you know, have women. And I remember the first time I had a luncheon, I was like, no one's coming. There's going to be absolutely no one there.
Right.
You know, so I just put it out there, like, you know, I'm giving a luncheon. The place was packed.
Oh, that's good.
I was like, okay, Lord, now what do I do? You know?
Exactly.
So I had the mic in my hand, and I tell you, I just yielded, and the Holy Spirit just, you know, just spoke through me. And it was just women coming together and just loving on one another.
Wow.
And I find that, you know, so many times we're trying to grab people from the outside, which is great, evangelism, that's awesome. But, you know, inside, we have a lot of things that we need to get together on the inside of the body.
Yeah.
You know, I love for people to come that are just seeking him, which is wonderful. But we have to make sure that we are in a good place. You know, we don't just talk, but walk the walk as much as we can and seek him even more. And so that's basically my passion, is just to, you know, encourage women to have a personal relationship with the Lord.
It's so interesting, right, that I feel like in my life, being a Christian as well, that God does that. he puts you in these peculiar positions of things that you never thought yourself doing.
Never.
You know, ever. Like, I used to always say, I don't like kids. I don't want no kids. I don't want no kids near me. I don't want no kids. And I ended up being, you know, an instructor for kids cooking and stuff like that, and having kids around me all the time. And I'm like, God, you are so funny.
Yeah, he is.
He's funny.
He is.
But what I like about what you just said also is that it's super important, and you're right, that we don't always look inside, though.
We don't.
And sometimes the woman sitting next to you is hurting.
Hurting.
Yeah, and we have no idea because, well, she's working with the Lord, so she's good.
No, and that's such a falsehood, because someone could be sitting right next to you, depressed, going through, and we're so busy trying to gather people to come in that we're not taking care of ourselves and the people that are sitting right next to us in the pew. So it's important that we come together. Iron sharpens iron.
Right.
You know, come together, encourage one another, love on one another, build each other up in the body.
Right.
And then we're ready, to, you know, we're so ready to bring, you know, to go out and start, you know, bringing people in to show us like we're strong. And this is what God has done, and this is what He is doing in our life, you know.
And that's a good point, Darlene, because I think that, I mean, I'm one of them, right? I think sometimes we do neglect the body and who's in the body, you know. You're always, it's true, you're always looking outward. It's funny. You can find yourself doing either thing where you're only inward and not going out at all, or you're always looking out and not taking care of inward at all. And you're right. I think another very valid point that you made is that the person next to you, because they are a believer, does not mean that they don't go through struggles.
Oh my goodness, we go through even more struggles, you know, and so like, okay, I'm fine. Oh yeah, I'm good. No, you're not good.
Right.
You know, let's try to encourage that person, build that person up, pray for that person. You know, sometimes shame comes in, you know, like, okay, I'm just, you know, I'm with the Lord and He's taking care of me. He is, but He also sends people to help. You know, He doesn't He doesn't have you by yourself. You're not an island. You know, He sends us to each other to help one another. Not only are people trying to get them in, you know, and I always say, you know, we're trying to get people in and we're jacked up.
Right.
You know, we're all jacked up and we like, you know, and they're looking around and saying, you know, well, you know, they're a wreck.
Right.
So we really,
that's so true.
Yeah, so we really have to, you know, build ourselves up, you know, make sure that we are encouraging one another, loving one another. That's a key thing, really, to just love one another. You know, because we might have different mothers, but we have the same father.
Right.
You know, you have to look at each other like that, sister, instead of, you know, stabbing each other in the back and gossiping about one another, and just, you know, just love on each other.
How has that been for you, being an introvert naturally?
Oh my goodness, I'm telling you, I am not introvert anymore. Wow. You know, I don't know. God has changed me so much. He's changed me. I mean, just transformed me from the inside out. He's still doing it daily. You know, it's a daily transformation. But like I said, I never had eye contact. I never spoke to anyone. And I was fine in my little world.
Right.
My mother's like,
it worked for you.
Yeah. Don't you have any friends? Like, no, I don't want any friends. You know, don't you? I wasn't a person who was depressed because I didn't have friends. I didn't want friends.
Right.
You know, I was a loner, and I was okay in my little world. And so when God asked me to have a woman's group, I'm like, wait a minute, this is totally out of my comfort zone.
Right.
And now I find that I love people. I just love people. The more, the better. Right. Because I just know, you know, where there is numbers, there's strength. Right. You know, so we can just really, you know, like grow in each other, like strengthen, you know, like, depend on one another, to love one another. So
let me ask you about how you even got started, right? Because it's one thing to say, yeah, I'm just going to just do an event. It doesn't usually it's not that easy,
not
right?
Not that easy at all.
So how do you even go about like forming this in your head, like what this will even be, what this will look like, what your first event is going to be? Because what are you doing? Just having women in a room, or is there a purpose, right? So you have to think about all of that. So how did you come up with like the purpose of this and starting it off? Like, what's the beginning, the genesis?
Oh my goodness, that's a great question, because like I said, I was comfortable in my own world, doing my own thing. And my company sent me to a meeting in New York City, a round table. And I'm sitting there at the round table, and we're talking about trademarks and different things. And all of a sudden, I heard the Lord say to me, this is what I want you to do for my people. Get women together so they can just talk about their issues. and how, what their needs are together in the body.
Right, right.
Because that's what a round table is. We're talking about what I do can help you, what, how I do things and vice versa. And so I'm like, okay, it was in my brain, it was in my spirit. So I'm like, well, how do I do this?
Yeah, right.
What do I do? I don't even know any women.
It's like, do I do it at home? What do I do? Yeah, yeah.
And I have to tell you, the Lord, when you spend time with the Lord, I was seeking him over and over, just home alone, just on my face, just seeking the Lord, praise music on. And I began to know exactly what he wanted me to do. I was frightened. The first thing I'll tell you, the first thing he had me do, he said, okay, you're going to have a party. It's going to be called a God thing. I'm like, a God thing? I was like, okay.
That's a good name.
So I just started, he said, I want you to get 12 invitations. I ordered them, and it said, it's a God thing. Now I'm like, I don't know 12 people. He said, I want you to hand these out to 12 people, and I'll let you know who. Now, this is definitely a faith walk. People are like, God's not saying all that, God's
exactly.
talking to you.
I know what you're talking about. God ain't
God's
talking
not
to you.
talking to you. I don't hear him.
Right.
But so anyway, I would be talking to you, and all of a sudden, I would feel in my spirit, give her an invite. And I was so nervous and so,
yeah, I bet.
shy, but I would just hand the envelope, and I'm like, you don't have to open it now. And on it had the date. Didn't have the place yet. It just had a date. It was October 5th.
Didn't have the place
Didn't
yet.
have the place. So this is a faith walk.
Yeah.
So I went to people. I just talked to people, whatever, just meet, and didn't have the intentions of inviting them. And all of a sudden, I hear, that's one of them. That's one of them. So I would hand the invitation out and say again, don't open it, and I don't know if you can come. And God was very clear. He said, now I want you to invite 12. Now, if someone can't make it, don't take that invitation to give to another one.
Oh, wow.
Whoever comes, comes. But it doesn't have to be 12, but whoever can come, come. So I said, okay. I had no idea where it was going to be. I just had
That's very specific.
It's very. It was just, he had it, very, very down to the point. And so then my brother, who now lives in Florida, he and his wife had just built like a vacation home in the Poconos. Now, if anyone knows my brother, there is no way in the world that he's going to allow me to use his home, and I wasn't thinking that. But I was sitting in his car talking to him, and I just knew the Lord was saying, ask him, can you use his home? Brand new home, just built.
Right.
I'm like, there is no way I'm asking my brother. There is absolutely no way. And then I said to him, I said, Wick, can I use your home with some friends? He said, sure. I'm like, sure? I can? He said, yeah, just let me know. I'll give you the key. And the reason I say that, because my brother, it had to be all God, because there's no way in the world. He would just say, people I don't know, go up to my brand new house.
Right.
So anyway, 11 ladies said yes. 11 ladies.
Wow.
12 were supposed to come. 11 said yes. And we went up to the Poconos. Little did I know that it was the only house on top of a mountain. And it was so dark, we couldn't see. And I'm like, where is the house? Where is the house? Finally, I just got out the car and started looking, and there was this house. We went in, and also the Lord said to me, don't ask me for anything, just praise me. So we couldn't pray for anybody, we couldn't pray for ourselves, but this was a praise party. We could just thank him and just praise him. And we walked in that door, and we just, all of us on our face, just screaming and just praising the Lord, and just had praise music on. It was just amazing. The Spirit of the Lord was so heavy in that place.
Wow.
And we were there for 3 days. When I came down from there.
That was a retreat.
Yeah, it was. And
that wasn't a round table.
Oh my goodness.
No, that wasn't a round table. Took everybody with you.
No, that one wasn't a round table. That was just the beginning.
Okay.
Before the round tables. He had told me, this is before he told me about the round table. And when I came down, that's when he started giving me instructions about the round table and just different things. So it had to be birth, but I had to go up there obedience. I had to show him my obedience of doing something was totally different out of my comfort zone.
Right.
And then when I came down, that's when he said, okay. Then I went to a meeting, and he said, okay, now I want you to gather more people together.
Right. Wow.
And, yeah.
Well, there are 11 women that said yes. I guess with you would be 12.
No, it was me. I was 12. That's right. I was a 12.
Yeah, so he still got the 12.
He still got the 12. And we called it the upper room.
That's awesome.
The upper room. And someone brought to my attention that there were 12 disciples then one dropped off.
Right.
So then there was 11.
Right.
And I didn't realize that until after. And Jesus made 12, of course.
Right.
Not that I'm Jesus, but
Right.
you know.
No, I
but,
get it. Yeah.
But,
yeah, that's amazing.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
It was an amazing time in the Lord.
It's not just you doing something new, but also learning a step-by-step obedience in your life, and that's in itself huge, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So sometimes we hear God and we think, is that God?
Is that God?
You know, yeah.
That
And we'll
could
try it, it won't
possibly be
work.
God.
That
and
wasn't
you know
God.
that's not God. That's so true. And it's just knowing, you know, when He's giving you instructions. But, you know, it's just, it was a long process.
Yeah.
You know, it was a long process.
When did this all begin?
2006.
Okay, so it's been a little bit of
Yeah,
a little bit of ways.
2006.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Do you have any connection with those women still, the 11 that went with you?
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
great.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
And so when you came back down and now this round table is now on your heart, how do you even begin that? What's that about? Because I'm looking at you like, I don't know I don't know how I would have even started that.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
You know, that's the first one is when I just said, okay, I'm having a luncheon, and then the place was packed.
Right.
You know, and then it's like, okay. And as I was there talking on the mic, I don't know what I was saying. I was just like, okay, everybody, I love everybody, whatever. And I heard the voice of the Lord said, take this to the radio. And I'm like, radio? And I said it out loud because I had the mic in my hand.
Right.
And Mona, a friend Mona, she said, what are you saying? I said, I hear I should take this on the radio. And she said, there's a radio station in Bridgeport. I'm like, really? She said, yeah. And I'm like, oh, okay. You know, and then I just dropped it. The next day she called and she says, they want to meet you. And I'm like, meet me who? She said, the radio station. I'm like, what radio station?
Right.
So we'll talk about that later, but that's how the radio, at the very first event, that's how the radio
Oh,
station.
okay. Oh, wow. Okay. Because you've been doing that a while too then.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
So the round table is what? What was that? What was the experience of that? What was the gist of having a round table?
Well, bringing women from all different nationalities, race, denominations, coming together and just sharing their experiences as far as being in the body.
Okay.
You know, depression, loneliness, just different types of things
Just
that they're going through. Yes.
Okay.
And what I love so much about the round table is that everyone has the opportunity to talk if they choose to.
Okay.
You know, sometimes you go somewhere and there's a workshop or whatever and you have so much to share and you don't have the opportunity to. A round table, everyone can share. You know, I'm just a facilitator, you know, and then I open the floor and people just start, you know, sharing one another about what they're going through.
Oh, wow.
And sometimes you feel like you're the only one going through something. And so many other people are going
probably
through
deep connection that
Oh my
happens.
goodness. Everyone, they leave with so many different connections and friends.
Yeah.
You know, and it's
And the round
amazing.
table is how, you know, does it start at a certain time, end at a certain time? Or
Well, the round table used to start at like 9 o'clock and we ended at 4. It was a whole day.
It was a whole day. Okay.
Whole day. You know, we had at the Hilton and there was, you know, lunch and then there was entertainment.
Wow.
You know, it was just a whole day.
Yeah, so you didn't start small is what you're saying.
I didn't. And it was just everything.
Some people just start with like 2 people. Like you renting out rooms and
ballrooms. God, I'm telling you, God, I'm like, where am I going to get this money for this ballroom? We had 2 ballrooms.
Wow.
And they were beautiful. It was just unbelievable. It had to be nothing but God. Because there's no way in the world. I mean, he step by step, he showed himself.
Wow.
It was just amazing. And
That's
we had it
amazing.
every 4 months for years.
Wow,
For
the
years.
round table.
The round table.
Right, the round table. That's amazing. I didn't even know about this, so that's pretty cool. And I wish that I did know about it because I think it's something that is in need.
Yes.
And something that I don't think anybody's really doing. At least I don't know about it. You know.
Yeah, I had never heard of one other than business.
Right.
You know, in business.
Yeah.
But so many people are going through so many of the same issues and problems. You know, so when you talk to someone, you can say, "Listen, I've been through that."
Right.
You know, and then there's a connection because
Right.
now there's a bond.
Right.
You know, and they can encourage one another.
Yeah,
you know.
and that sounds like what your whole purpose is.
It
or the
is.
key.
Yes.
Is, right.
Absolutely.
Do you did you ever feel like you needed to stray from that and not let it be just Christian women, or has the core always been to take care of Christian women in the church?
Well, there have been women that aren't Christian women you know, which is fine.
Yeah.
But the common denominator is Jesus. You
Right,
know, I don't
right,
want someone to come
right.
there and like argue with me about, you know, Jesus or whatever.
Right.
You know.
Right. Well, I mean, it's in the
yeah.
title, right?
Yeah.
You're working for Jesus,
Yeah,
with
for
Jesus.
with Jesus.
And twice he's in the title.
I know, right? Twice. It wasn't always. It was women that working for Jesus.
Okay.
Just this new season.
Okay.
You know, we added.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And with Jesus, but it's for all women.
Yeah.
There are women that don't know Jesus.
Right.
When they leave there, they're surrounded by all these women that do, showing them love or whatever. But you have to make the choice.
Right.
But they can come. Anyone can come.
Right. Right.
You know,
right.
I have people that come all the time that don't know Jesus. They've
Right.
heard of him, but don't know him. But when they leave there, they'll feel the love of Jesus.
Right.
You know.
Right.
But I think the key purpose, the main purpose, is to help the body.
Yeah.
Because so many times I you know, I look at the body and it's just like, really? You know Jesus? Really? You know, so it's not what we say. It's a lifestyle.
Right.
It's a transformation. None of us are perfect.
Right.
But it's a matter of just having a personal relationship and just building on that and just spend time with him and in the presence of him and just get to know him.
Right.
And that's so many people just like, oh yeah, I go to church and I go on Sunday and Wednesday Bible study or whatever, but they're unhappy.
Yeah.
They don't have the love of Jesus in them. They don't have the compassion, you know, and it's just name only.
Right,
so
right,
there's
right.
so much more.
That's so good.
And you know, and I have to tell you this this story real quick. One of the things that that God did for me and for me, shall I say, is I had wanted this job. And usually I get a job, you know, because I used to be a headhunter and I'd go in and I knew the game and this one day I didn't get this job that I wanted. It was a consultant job. And I remember coming home and saying to the Lord, well, Lord, because I was fasting, I was praying, and I didn't get this job. And I'm like, oh, why didn't I get this job, Father?
Right.
And you know what he said to me? He said, I don't know you.
Ow. Ow.
And so anyone knows me knows that I will plead my case. I'm like, well, wait a minute now. Wait a minute. And I stood up and I'm like, well, I pray every day.
Right.
I read my Bible every day. I go to church. Matter of fact, I carry my Bible in my bag, my little briefcase. And I, you know, read it and, you know, I'm
a good Christian.
Yes,
God.
I'm a good Christian. And he said it again. I don't know you.
Wow.
And I just sat there and I'm like, wow. He doesn't know me, but here, if you look at me, you're like, Darlene's a good Christian. You know, she goes to church and she's doing this and she's doing that and hallelujah, amen.
Wow.
But yet God said he didn't know me. And I stood up and I said, I want to know you.
Nice.
And I started screaming the word yes. That came out that was from my belly, from my soul,
Yeah.
from my spirit. Yes, screaming yes.
Right.
And that day my life changed.
Wow.
Because I tell people there's more to God. There's more than just going to church, reading the Bible.
You give me church
and
right
praying.
now. And when we come back, I want to talk about that yes,
Yeah.
if that's good.
Oh,
because
absolutely.
That's good.
Yes.
That's good. You're taking this to a good level. All right. We will be right back with Darlene to discuss what this yes and this transformation was all about, because this is really exciting for me to talk about the Lord and to talk about how he can take somebody from somewhere and make it something else,
Yes.
right? So we'll be right back. Don't you miss it. Hello, this is Nina Perez and welcome back. We have been sitting here talking to Darlene McGee. She has an organization that is Women Networking for Jesus and with Jesus. And she was just telling us like this really awesome story about how she did everything a good Christian does, and she goes to church and she reads her Bible and she, you know, she's doing everything that she thinks the Lord wants to do in her life. And then I guess through prayer or something, she heard, I don't know you. And that's actually one of my biggest fears, Darlene, if I'm, going to just expose myself. One of my very biggest fears is, am I playing the Christian game or am I really a Christian, right? So I'm always trying to ask the Lord to show me if there's an area that I need to fix, or I'm sure there's a lot of areas I need to fix, but how is it that I walk truly with my faith system? I don't want it to be an emotional system. I want it to be a biblical truth system, Yes. So you were talking about how you just started to, from your belly, yell out the word yes, and it transformed your life. And I would love to know how. What did you feel differently, see differently, start showing in your life with that word?
Well, that's a good question, Nina, because when I said the word yes, like I was saying, no one's told me, okay, you have to say yes, but that's a form of surrendering. And I screamed it with every being in my body. It was just, and I kept saying it over and over again. And I always say, when I tell this story, I always say that I felt, this didn't happen in the natural, but I felt like the wind come in and my hair was blowing, and it's just like, yes,
like a dramatic part of a movie. Got it.
It's so dramatic, and I'm just like, yes, and just like, and the light was shining on me, and whatever, that
awesome.
Really didn't happen, but that's what I felt.
Right.
And I felt that my eyes opened. Because when I said yes, I didn't just say, yes, Lord, I was screaming it like it was just coming out of every
visceral.
pore. Exactly. Yeah. And everything changed from that day. My eyes seemed like they opened, it's just like I just knew I wanted more of him. And I knew I wanted to be in a better place with him. And I knew I wanted him to know me and not, and I wanted to know him and not, play the part, but I wanted to be the part.
Wow.
And like I said, my course changed. Who would think that I would be in ministry? That was the furthest thing from my mind. Not that I think there was anything wrong with it, but it was just that wasn't me. I'm a businesswoman. I'm working in New York. I'm just, I'm just shaking and moving, hitting the ground running. And now all of a sudden, that isn't as important to me anymore. And one of the things I knew I had to do was just spend time with him. Like the movie The War Room, I had to go into my closet. I had to, every day I would put music on and just lay prostrate on the floor and just cry. And just, ask God, please, make me into who you want me to be. And I tell you, things started changing in me, inside of me. I was always so sad, and just even though, on the outside it seemed like I was happy, but I was broken. My background is from depression, and I was just always very broken. No one knew it.
I struggle with depression too. It's a hard thing.
Yeah, it's a hard thing to struggle with that. And I struggled with that most of my life, was depression. And I thought that was going to be a part of my life, because that was me, my identity. Even though a lot of people didn't know, but I was sad, I was
we're
lonely.
really good at covering stuff like that. I was very good. Nobody knew I ever struggled with that. Yeah.
But that is a really big issue. There's so many women inside the church, outside, but as well inside as well, that are dealing with. And he started working on me when I would cry, like go home and just lay on the ground, on the floor, and just start crying out to the Lord. He was healing me of that. And every day I would just cry, and I'd go to sleep, and I'd wake up and say, okay, Lord, let's do this again. And I would just cry, and all of a sudden one day my tears stopped.
Wow.
And I was trying to go like, oh my, I was supposed to be crying.
You're trying to cry.
I was supposed to be crying,
Right. Oh,
but that's
gosh, you're speaking to me
but
right now.
But I had to go through that pain. I mean, we're talking, it was, it hurt. Just cry and scream because I was seeing flashes of my background, of my, of growing up and things that, like my parents passed away and my brother, and I would just see, because that was what was hurting me inside, and I had to relive it all.
Right.
Really walk in it. And then one day the tears stopped.
Yeah.
And then that's when, I went up to the mountain, came down the mountain, he started giving me instruction. So I gave up everything, all of, the business work that I was doing in New York or whatever.
Scary.
It was very scary, because now like I have.
That's your bread and butter. That's so
I don't have the things I used to have, but I'm happier.
Right.
The peace, people, when someone says, peace that surpasses all understanding, when you get that peace, no matter what, no matter what, you just, I know God has me, you know, and I don't just say it, I know it. I know He has me. No matter what I'm going through, He has me. You know, but it was a process to get to where I am now, and I have so much further to go. You know, He's building and transforming and, you know, pulling and shaking and doing all kind of things in me and my life to take me where I'm going.
And you know, the important thing of that is that you are doing this now to help other women get through that. And the only way I feel like you can help some people get through things is when you've been through things, you know?
Oh my goodness, Nina, it's funny you say that. I was going through something once, and I remember walking at lunch at work, and I remember saying, God, why am I going through this? And He was very clear. He said, because this is not for you.
Yeah, exactly.
This isn't for you.
I always feel that way too.
I was like, well, He said, no, this is for others. So when you meet someone who's going through it, you don't have to say, or you won't say, well, I empathize with you, I sympathize with you. I can say, oh, I've been through it, and God took me through. So it's important that we go through things, and sometimes it's not even for us, it's to help others.
Even though the going through it's not fun.
It's not fun at all. It's not fun at all.
It's not fun.
It's really bad.
You know, talking about depression, I remember when God freed me of depression as well, I was afraid actually because I didn't know who I would be. You know, I was like, without it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know who I would be without it. Depression was a big part of my life. So was anxiety, right? To wake up one day and know that God kind of like took that out, I was just like scared, almost like, well, how am I going to get the sympathy of others, or you know, how is anybody going to feel sorry for me, or what am I going to do now? Now I got to be strong, you know, like that kind of thing. And I've always had this like inner strength where I knew I had to go to work and knew how to take care of my kids. I knew how to clean my house, you know, those kind of things. But I always struggled with depression. And so to one day, like you, stop crying. And then I'm sitting there kind of like not feeling depressed and not feeling like this anxiety. And I'm like, this is weird.
Yes, it is.
It's a weird, a wonderful feeling. I haven't been depressed in like 15 plus years.
God. Yes.
You know, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't try to come back.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I can definitely go there.
It's
I don't know about you, but I could go there.
Definitely. It's a process. Just because we're delivered doesn't mean that we can't go there. There are certain times where, you know, it's like it comes on me and I'm like, okay.
And sometimes I want to go. Sometimes I'm like, I got the pity party flag and I'm going.
Feel sorry for me, you know, but it's something because usually around the holidays it's very difficult for me, you know, so I have to make a decision and just like, oh no, I'm not going there. I'm not going there. Because once I go there in that deep, dark hole,
it's hard to get out.
It's hard to get out. So I try like, I'm not going there. But it always, you know, is at the door knocking. You know, that's one thing. Really, I think when people think that when you deliver from something, you're delivered and it just doesn't come back to haunt you. You're different. So which means that you're not going to go there. But it still tries to haunt you.
And what you're doing with this organization is important because to your point, when you go into that deep dark hole, you're going to need a sister, somebody to help pull you out.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
You're just going to need
and
that's just what you need.
Yes, that's important for us to know and be transparent. So many times, you know, like we're talking now, we've gone through depression or whatever, and so many times people have gone through things and they're hiding it. You know, and so they're not transparent. So how can someone help you if you're not transparent about what you're going through? So it's important to really just, it doesn't matter what people think, you know, it's just a matter of helping one another. So if you're depressed or you're going through something, just be transparent. Because other people are going through it too. You're not the only one. You know, sometimes like it's the only one, so I can't say anything. No, you can say, and you'll be surprised how many people are going through, no matter what it is.
It's true, and they probably need it as much as you do.
Exactly.
You'd be surprised how much we can help each other.
Exactly, and that's what it is. Iron sharpens iron. It's like helping one another.
But like you said before, shame has a big part in this.
Oh, yes.
You know, embarrassment has a big part in it, you know, and none of that at the end of the day is important. What's important is your well-being and your health.
Exactly.
And so, but we think too much. That's the problem, you know. I really enjoyed going to your tea parties, and so I wanted you to talk a little bit about that. What the tea do you call it a tea party?
Yeah, it's a tea party.
Okay. I want you to talk about your tea party because that was really well done. And I enjoyed that. I really did enjoy that. And I know you recently had one.
Yes.
But I want you to tell us a little bit about these tea parties and, you know, how we can even find out about them and join them, but also how you go about the process of doing these really great events.
Well, remember I said I had the round tables. Round tables were huge. They were all day long. And then there was a time, I did it for years, every 4 months on every 4 months, and I did this for years, and people, you know, they're always coming to the round tables and bring a friend, and it was just amazing. And then there was a time where the Lord said, be still.
Okay.
And I was still. And I said, okay, I have to stop this. I don't know why, but he told me to be still for a while. Actually, I do know why. I was getting ready to go through again.
Okay.
Not depression, but just I had to move and different things that I had to go through, and just be in his face again and have him build me up for the next season.
Right.
And I was like, Lord, when can I have another round table or whatever? And he goes, I want you to go back, but now it's going to be smaller. It's going to be a tea party. And I'm like, okay.
Well, the tea party was pretty big.
Yeah, it was big.
So
but it's
how
only
big was the round table?
Well, the round table was huge. I mean, it was like 80, 90 people at least.
Okay.
And then it was an all-day thing.
Right.
The tea is for 2 hours.
Okay.
2.5 hours. I call it a tea because there's a story that I don't know if I told when you were there about this little teacup that was a clay, and then the Lord came and, you know, started patting it and putting it on the wheel, and it was screaming, no, no, please, this is hurting, and this is, you know, I feel horrible. He put it in the oven, and it was like, please let me out. Anyway, and then when it came out, you know, afterwards, it was all shiny and beautiful, and everybody was admiring this teacup. And that's just the way we are. You know, we're just an old lump of clay, and God is working on us and transforming us daily. Good. You know, so that was this tea story that I used to tell. So the tea is like a round table, except it's just a small scale.
Right.
You know, everybody comes together, and so many people want to talk, which they can. And I tell my story. One of my stories the Lord puts on my heart about my experience in my life. I'm very transparent, and anyone else can tell their story. You know, people have the opportunity to talk about what's going on in their life, and, you know, it's just about connecting. And a lot of people are doing different businesses and different things, so it's also a way of networking and connecting. I'm a true believer of supporting everyone in the body, outside the body as well, but also in the body. Yeah. So if somebody has a shop, a bake shop or whatever that's in the body, and someone has one that's outside the body, I will prefer to go to the one in the body.
I guess that's why it says networking. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's about networking, see who's out there, what everyone else is doing.
Are these in different locations or always the same location?
In different locations.
Okay.
You know, we have them in Stanford, we have them in Norwalk. There's going to be one in Massachusetts. There was one in New York. You know, yeah. I feel like I'm going to start traveling with it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
that's
New Jersey.
That's a whole other element.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So how do you even go about even promoting that? Like, say you go to Massachusetts. Do you know Massachusetts? Do you have like a group of women there?
Yeah,
okay.
I know a group of women.
And so
there.
They kind of help spread the word for you. Okay, that's good.
They spread the word. They'll bring someone to bring another friend and a friend, and that's how it goes. It's always about connecting friends, bringing friends in, and then that person has someone, and then I go back up again. So you know,
that's good.
Yeah.
I heard in your last tea event that I was attending, you gave such an amazing testimony. It was good. It was really good. And it was something that inspired a lot of people. Like, we were all sitting there kind of like in awe about this amazing story about, I think it was, they thought you had MS or something like that. And it was really great. And I believe the other woman was Darlene as well.
Yes, another Darlene.
And she was very transparent and very clear about struggles that she had gone through. And that was really refreshing.
Yes.
It was really refreshing, and it was really great. You were right in setting it a smaller timeline, I think.
Yes.
You know, because by 2 hours you've already eaten, you've talked, you've networked and everything, and then it's time to leave. But you leave refreshed.
You do.
You know?
You
so
leave
that was
refreshed.
really nice. Yeah.
And that's the most important part, is like leaving feeling upbeat and just encouraged, you know, and realize that, you know, we're not the only one going through it. And if you have something to share with others that could help others, or even help yourself. Sometimes just, you know, talking about your experiences of what's going on in your life can be therapeutic.
It is.
And so it's you know, this is where the Lord has me. I am so happy. I know it's leading to something else, but right now this is where He has me. So.
And so you're really trying to expand it to other places.
Oh, yes.
Then is it just going to be you expanding it, or are you raising up leaders to expand these things for you, or how are you doing that?
So that's a good question, because I would like to have a chapter in every state.
Okay.
You know, and then have one big conference at the end of the year. So right now I'm just doing the legwork, like going and
Yeah.
just, you know, but
Which
that's
takes time.
Yeah, it does.
A lot of time.
But that is that's the goal, is to
Okay.
have networking, women networking for Jesus, in different locations, and they'll have them every couple of months or whatever, and then we'll all get together as one big group.
That's
Yeah, that's
that's very smart. It's
so
very
I'm leading,
strategic.
teaching people to head
Yeah.
it, because I can't do it all.
No,
you
no,
know,
no,
so.
you can't. And I think that's wisdom, that you know that you
Yes.
can't do it
Yeah.
all, right?
Yeah.
So you have your choice of either just staying in one location and just being the head of it and that's it,
Exactly.
or you sound like your vision is expanding. And in
Expanding.
order to have that expand, you got to network with Jesus.
Exactly. Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
and network with other women who have a talent or a skill that you don't have.
Exactly.
Right? And
Absolutely.
that is okay.
Now
you know?
I have a beautiful team right now. I have Felicia and a young girl. I shouldn't say young girl. A lady named Naima, and they are just amazing. And they alleviate some of the pressure off me, because before I
that's
had to
great.
do everything. I had to set up. I had to do everything. Now,
Also, they help with all of
oh
that.
yeah, they do all of it. They
That's
do all
great.
of it. So when I come in, you know, for the tea party, I'm able to just, you know, start going in the topic.
Oh, wow, that's
and just,
great.
You know, so I'm prayed up and ready to just get it going. So they're amazing.
Yeah, that's great to have a team of women behind you
Yes,
too. That's
yes.
super important.
It is.
Yeah, you
Can't
can't.
do it by
you
yourself.
just can't, and you try to, but
Yeah.
it starts to eat you up, and before you know, it's
That's right.
something that is your calling and a blessing starts to become something you don't want to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that's good. Very wise of you.
Yeah.
Very, very wise. So now I want to talk about your radio program. Super fun being on there with you.
Oh, you were
super
great.
fun.
You were
I think
great.
I've been there. What was it? Twice?
Yeah,
Or
I
what,
think
twice,
it's been,
right?
Yeah, I think it's been twice.
So much fun.
You got to come back.
So much fun. It's fun to be there. It's fun to be at that setting with the mics and all of that stuff. So tell me about that, because that's another step of faith there too,
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
Like,
Absolutely.
You're totally not even doing the New York thing at
I
all
know.
anymore.
It's like I put my briefcase up on the shelf, and
Yeah,
I'm just
it's like you're
all
trying to
into
do it on the
more.
side, and it's like,
yeah,
nah, I don't think
that's
so.
true. That is so true, Nina. That was at the first event that I had, when I had the microphone.
Right.
And so anyway, to make a long story short, I went in, I met with Mr. Edwards, and he said, I want you to start Friday. And I'm like, Friday? I'm like, let me just go pray about this, because this is happening way too fast.
Right.
So I did. I went home, prayed, and I realized that, you know, this is something the Lord wanted me to do. It was definitely out of my comfort zone. But I went there, and the first day, you know, the mic's on, and, you know, and they're like, okay,
gosh.
1, 2, 3. And
And you're like,
I'm like, my name is Darlene McGee, and that was it. I didn't say a word. That was it. They put music on.
no,
I had
that
no
is
idea.
so
I was not prepared. Oh my goodness, I'll never forget the first day.
Oh my
and then I
gosh.
went back the following week, and I've been on now.
You went back though.
Yeah,
Good for
I
you.
did. I went back because I
Good
knew I
for you.
had to go back.
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
frightening though.
Yeah.
But I did. I went back, and
Oh.
and I love it. I mean, I've been doing it now for years, and I just love it.
And so you've been doing that since that first time, which was like
Yes.
2006, you said?
Yeah,
Or-
2006.
Wow, that's a very long time.
Yeah, exactly.
And so when is this? Where does it come on? How can people listen to you?
It's every Friday from 6 to 7, and it's 1400 AM.
Okay.
WNLK is the name of the station.
Right. But I
Yeah.
think there was a way to listen to it online too.
Yes, you can listen to it
Yeah.
online.
Because I remember going on
WNLK.
there and listening to it. Yeah. So that's great. And you have guests on there. You have
Yes.
rotating guests.
Yes, I
You have
do.
rotating topics.
Yes.
Which is really good.
Yeah,
and
we
you've been
cover
doing this
everything.
for quite some time.
Yes.
So wow, that's a step, because you know it's something to to leave your job already was a huge step, and then to
Yes.
start this round table and like rent out like rooms
Yes.
is huge. A lot of people don't have the oomph to do that. That's scary, you know.
And someone
Yeah.
with my background who, you know, was introvert.
Yeah,
this
introvert,
is for
right.
me to just come out and do all these things. It had to be God, because it
Yeah.
totally wasn't me.
Yeah,
It's
and
not
being an
me.
introvert must be. See, I've always been an extrovert. I'm
Oh,
you
okay.
very much I could talk to anybody, anywhere, at
Now
any time.
I can, but
Yeah.
growing up, never. I didn't want to. but-
and you seem to have been okay with that, right?
Yeah,
and God's
I
like,
was.
no, not for you. So how can people get in contact with you or learn more about you and what you're doing, and also come to these great, these great things you have going on? Like the Tea Party is really fun, and people should
yeah.
experience that. You know.
Yes. I would love
So
that.
if people want to contact you, what can they do? How can they get in contact
Well,
with
they
you?
can call me 203 822-8804.
8804, okay.
Just call me, leave a message, or speak with me about, and I'll give you all the information. I'm also on Facebook, Darlene McGee. You can go on Facebook.
Okay.
We're working on a website soon. We had one, but we're redoing it.
Okay.
So just give me a call.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have a Facebook page for Women Networking
I do.
for Jesus?
There's
okay.
Women Networking for Jesus Facebook.
And it's still active, right? Because I think I saw it.
Yes,
I was
it's
reading
active.
some stuff on there.
Yes.
Okay. So on Facebook, it's Networking for Jesus and with Jesus. And so before we close out, I'd like you to maybe give somebody who's thinking of doing what you do, or maybe they want to start a chapter.
Oh, yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, absolutely.
You never know.
I'm looking
like,
for people
why
to start
not?
chapters.
Why not? You just never know. Like, why reinvent a wheel, right? If you've already
Exactly.
carved out the wheel,
Exactly.
right? So, if you could
Absolutely.
give somebody like one or two inspirational words or tips or something for being in the organization or starting one, something like that, what would you tell people about your experience and your journey?
Well, God has a plan for all of us, and sometimes when you feel like there's something that God is telling you to do, He is. It's when it seems like it's so big and so outside of the realm of thinking, just step out the boat, just go for it. It's a walking thing, it's a God thing, but it's just being free to just say, is this you, God? It might not be. If it doesn't work, it might not be Him, but something that maybe is not something you thought of, where God is giving you, some information or just, nudging you, just go for it. Don't be afraid. And I always say, just step out the boat.
Yeah. That's good. And I agree with you 100%. That's how kind of like I live my life. I grab the bull by the horns,
Yes.
and I just do it.
Yes,
And then I'm like, you know what, God, He has already died on the cross for me.
Yes.
If He did nothing else,
That's right. You're right.
I'm good.
That's right.
You
I'm
know,
good. Exactly.
I'm good because Him
so
sacrificing His life for us, so that we don't be separated from Him for eternity is
Yes.
enough for me.
Yes, yes.
So all of this, I always say to my family, to my
true.
husband, all of this is a bonus.
Yes.
That's
so true.
Yeah, and it's I love Him.
Yes.
I've
Yes.
always been very clear about my stance in my
Yes.
religion. I'm a Christian, and I love the Lord, and I just strongly do believe that you can, do many different things in your life, as long as you have Him the head of it.
Yes.
You know what I'm
yes.
saying? It might not be what you're supposed to be doing, but you can always have a takeaway.
That's right.
You can
Absolutely.
always have something you can apply somewhere
Absolutely.
else.
That is so
You doing
true.
what you did before you became in this ministry or got this ministry going doesn't mean that any of that didn't apply.
Oh, it all.
Right?
It was a making. It's
Look
all
at the round
making.
table
Exactly.
experience.
It's all the making of
Yeah.
who God's making us. Every experience that you go
Yeah.
through, from childhood all the way up, it's a part of making us who we are.
Yep.
And some things are not as nice and whatever, but it just makes us stronger, wiser.
But it's a life experience.
It is.
Like, listen, we're all gonna. 100% of Christians die.
Yes. Yes.
100%.
Exactly.
So you know what? Experience life to the fullest, and
Exactly.
even with the errors, the mistakes,
Oh,
the hurts, the
absolutely.
pains, the depressions,
That makes
just experience
Yep.
it, because this is not a forever thing.
No.
Everything is temporary.
It is,
right?
and you look at it that way.
Yeah.
Sometimes God will have, like right now, He's having me do something that I'm like, why am I doing this?
Right.
But He's building something in me.
Right.
So take something from each experience that you go through, whether
Yeah.
it be good or bad.
Right.
Just say okay, and and learn from it.
Yeah, those are good takeaways. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
It was
you
great.
so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming.
Thank
So we are so grateful to have her here today. This was really, really a great time. Don't forget to reach out to Darlene McGee at Women Networking for Jesus and with Jesus. Make sure that you guys contact her. Maybe you want to start a chapter. Who knows?
Great.
Who knows?
Great.
Thank you so much for watching. This is Nina Perez, and until next time.